Okay, so we are going to need, where am I? Okay, so we're gonna need not that much actually. Um, no, I don't think we need any props, but just have your blocks, have um some kind of yoga strap just in case, but I think that we're gonna be okay actually with no props. Oh, pillow or something for underneath the pelvis that's kind of like just like 2 inches in height, something really, really thin. Okay, so we're gonna start on the back. And if you want to place that blanket or pillow under the head to start, you totally can, but you don't have to. I'm going to, but you do not have to do that. Um, and we just want to come onto the back, and then let's just take a second here, just with the hands on the belly, and we'll just take 6 breaths. And I just want you to line up your hands so that the middle fingers are almost touching. So there's like just the tiniest amount of space between your middle fingers, and they're lined up around the belly button. And then when you inhale, you just want to feel that you're moving the hands apart with your inhale, and then on your exhale, they're coming back together. We just want to do a few breaths like that. Inhaling, hands move apart. Exhaling, they come back together. And just kind of work on your own breath. Make sure you get 6 of these. And so you want to make sure that you're not actively moving your hands apart, but that it's the breath that's pushing the hands out left and right. We'll do one more. Okay. Now from here, I'm gonna have you bring the arms out to the side in a T shape with the palms facing up. And we want to straighten out the left leg along the floor. So the left leg is on the floor and it's just neutral, right? Now, with your right foot, you're pressing into your right foot. You'll feel the back of the leg engage, and then you want to push your right hip on a diagonal over to the left. So you want it to be kind of like a funky glute bridge, where the glute bridge is happening on the right side, the left butt is down. You're pushing your hip across, and you'll feel a little stretch in the front of the hip, maybe reaching into the low back a little bit. And we just want to play with this movement with the breath. So inhaling on the back, exhaling, pushing that right hip across. Just go at your own pace, a few more. We'll do last one. And then we want to do the same exact thing on the other side. So now left knee bends, right leg straightens, and we're using the left foot to push off. And the left glute is lifting away from the floor, the right knee's on the floor, and we move that hip diagonally across to the right. And we're moving with the breath, inhaling, exhaling. Just letting that, it's a very gentle rocking motion. You can use momentum. It should feel pretty nice. We'll just do a few more. Okay. Then we want to come back to the other side. So now right knee bends, left leg straightens again. And where we're heading from here now is a full body reach over to your left side. So you're going to utilize that diagonal again, but now you're going to add the arm. And I like to reach diagonally up. I feel like I get such a nice stretch underneath the shoulder blade And like, it's like you're reaching from under the shoulder blade forward and up on the diagonal. And then there's also some space happening in the waist. So we want to go back onto the back, inhale, exhale, reach. Inhale onto the back. The head and the neck is just relaxed. And it's almost like a little massage of the head and that left side of the face as we reach. And we just want to do a few more moving with the breath. Go at your own pace. Let's get last two. And last one. Okay, and then we want to do the other side. So now we straighten the right leg, bend the left knee, and we're reaching like diagonally across with the hip and diagonally up with the arm. And we're feeling that stretch between the shoulder blade and the hip and breathing a lot. Inhaling on the back. And you can make this movement as big or as small as you like, as fast or as slow as you like, just depending on, what you're feeling right now. Let's just do a few more. The head and the neck is relaxed. Jaws relaxed. One more. Okay, and then we're on the back again. Now, this is the place where we want it. I'll show you a few variations, but the first variation requires something underneath the pelvis that's just a few inches in height. And so we want to take whatever that is, and we want it to be just under the butt, not in the low back. Okay? And once you have that set up, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you take your hands and cinch the waist in. Okay? So it's like you're using your hands to push in. And then what I want you to feel is when you inhale, you're pushing your hands away from the middle. So it's literally like you're filling up your belly with this intra-abdominal pressure from the breath. Okay, so that's the inhale. On the exhale, I want you to hug the belly back towards the spine and very gently draw up on the pelvic floor. I don't want you to think of this as a downward motion. I want you to think of it as an outward motion, left and right. Okay, so we inhale out, left and right. And then we exhale, belly to spine and gentle, gentle lift on the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor lift is like it's like so tiny, like you were just lifting a tissue with some like the suction of like a straw or something. So, so gentle. I'm gonna have you just try one more. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, and we want to utilize this breath in what we're going to do next. Okay, most of you know this too. This is new for you, but we're going to keep practicing this. So we want to bring the hands behind the head. Remember that breath sensation. And then what we want to do from here is let's work just the legs. So we go left leg in. This is the inhale. Breathe out left and right. And then on the hold, we lower the leg and exhale. You can hold at the end of the exhale as long as you feel that your core is holding the leg. And then we can release and switch sides. So now we bring right leg in, inhale. Straight in on the hold, lower to exhale. And then we can hold at the bottom. And then we'll switch again. Okay, so go at your own pace. Get two more on each leg. When you hold after the exhale, you can hold there for up to 10 seconds on each side. okay? So just go at your own pace, and then we'll move on once we're done with 2 more on each side. The other thing that is nice to know is that when you straighten your leg and you're hovering above the floor, you should feel that same side glute engaging, and that will give you a stretch in the hip flexor as well. So we can try right side. Okay, so now we're gonna add a lift of the head and do 3 more on each side. The lift of the head, let's just practice it. The lift of the head is a tiny hover. It's not a sit-up, the shoulders don't lift. It's just a millimeter of space between the back of your head and the floor. Okay, so let's just try a few. We're gonna go inhaling out into the sides. Exhale, engage the belly. And lift the head just a little bit. Imperceptible lift. And then we lower down. Let's just try one more. Inhaling. Out to the sides, engage belly, engage pelvic floor. Little tiny lift. For the duration of the exhale, up to 10 seconds. And then we lower. Now we're gonna add that to the legs. Okay, so we go inhale, left leg comes in. We lower to a hover, we hover leg, hover head, just a little bit. And then we switch sides, inhale right leg. Exhale to lower and hover. Both the leg and the head, we can feel the right glute. And just go ahead and get 2 more on each side. Left side, remember the breath, feel the glute, hover the head. Hold for up to 10 seconds. And then we switch. Lower, same exact thing. We want to do 1 more on each side, but you're going at your own pace. So it might be a little bit more, a little bit less. That's perfect. And then let's do 1 more. Right side. Okay. So that's the variation with the blanket under the pelvis. Depending on how your neck feels, if your neck gets tense really easily, this is something that's going to build strength in the neck muscles, but you want to keep your hands under the head and practice using the hands minimally. Like some of you already know this, that now we want to try taking out the blanket, placing the backs of the hands underneath the pelvis, and then when we lift the head, we're lifting now just with the use of the neck muscles into that position. Everything else is the same. And we want to get 3 on each side. So try 1 if you haven't done this before. Try 1. See how the neck feels. Hold as long as you feel comfortable with that lift in the neck. As soon as the neck starts speaking too much, it's time to bring the blanket or pillow back and then use the help of the hands. But just get 3 on each side. So we probably have around 2 more on each side. Switching sides. Holding, making sure the breath is happening. Glute is engaged. Okay, and once we're done with 3 on each side, we're gonna meet in the quadruped position. And we're just gonna take spinal lifts. Nothing intense, no intense inner tension today. Just letting the chest lift, letting the tailbone lift, shifting hips back, and then cat pose forward, rounding the spine. Let's get about 8 to 10 and just move at your own pace, move with the breath. I like to inhale back, exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale. We'll do a few more. Last few here. And then last one. So just make sure you get 8 to 10. Take your time. And then we want to meet in a 90-90-ish position. Okay, and I don't want you to worry about propping anything up or being perfect in the 90-90, right? So the feet can be closer to you. And this is a more fluid 90-90. And so we're going to work diagonal. So I have left leg forward, right leg back. And what we want to do is we want to reach the left hand in front of the left knee and then reach the right arm on the diagonal to the left from under the shoulder blade. And then we want to cartwheel back. So the right hand is diagonally back from the right hip and the left arm sweeps over. And we just move between those diagonals in a range of motion that feels good right now. Get about 3 to 4 in this diagonal. And then we want to move horizontally, right? So we're cartwheeling left, the left hand lines up with the left middle thigh, and then same thing on the right. So we're just moving in the frontal plane. If we feel like we need a deeper range, we can come down to the left forearm. Hips are allowed to move and just get a few here. Okay, last diagonal. Now we're going to go forward to the left, back to the right. Okay, so the left hand goes down, and this is going to feel harder. So we're going diagonally forward left, cartwheeling back, diagonal back right, and that's going to feel, sorry, switch that, diagonal forward right, diagonal back left. And going back left is going to feel like you can get more range. And just play with that, breathe. We'll just do one more. Okay, and then let's switch. So now we have right leg in front, left leg back, and we'll start on that right word diagonal forward, okay? So we go diagonal forward right, cartwheel back left, forward right, breathing the whole time, back left. 3 to 4. Maybe one more. I just love this movement. Okay, then we're gonna go horizontally in the frontal plane to the right. That should feel pretty easy. Left should feel a little bit harder. So I like to come down maybe to the forearm on the right, bend the left elbow as much as I can as I go to the left. Let's do one more. Okay, and now we're gonna go diagonally forward left, diagonally back right. And the forward left is, to me, like one of the trickiest ones. Back right should feel pretty nice. And let's just go to our last one here. Ooh, okay. All right, now from here, I'm gonna have you come right up to stand. But I just want you to try something, okay? So try sitting on the heels in hero's pose, and then just try scooching off to one side, right? So I'm scooching off to the left, my butt is to the left, and then from there, try to get back up to the hero's pose without using the hands, and then just do the other side. Scooch off to the right, and then without using the hands, just come back up, okay? Now what we're gonna do is, let's go left, scooch, scooch, and then let's step left, let's come to standing on the knees, step left foot forward, and then come all the way to stand Yes. Now we're gonna go back down the way we came. So we're gonna go right foot back, split stance lunge, standing on the knees, sitting on the heels, scooching off to the right, scooching back on, right foot steps up, and then we come all the way to stand. And guys, we're gonna do that one more time on each side, just so now that you know it, okay? So left foot steps back, we lower down, standing on the knees, hero's pose, butt scooch, scooching back, hips lift, left foot lunge, step up, right foot back, lunge, standing on the knees, sitting on the heels, butt scooch right, lifting back up, hips hinge forward, right foot, we step, and then this time we stay standing. Okay, so 2 options, all right? We have a little bit of standing, some jumping, okay? Sue, we're not jumping. The two options we can do are heel lift and lower, right? Just kind of quickly and not very high, right? Where we're just going little lift, slowly little lift, okay? If we are jumping, it's still chill jumping, okay? So it's very gentle, hop and land. And I'm gonna put a timer on, and we're just gonna do that for 30 seconds. It's either little baby heel lifts, or it's very, very gentle, hopping, or in Melissa's case, I'm sure it's gonna be big time jumping, okay? But you know what I'm saying. All right, so when you're ready, go ahead, and we're just gonna start either little heel lift, little drop, heel lift, drop, or we're just doing little hops, little hops, little hops. I'm gonna opt for the heel lift drop today. Little lift of the heels, little drop. 10 more seconds, shoulders are relaxed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, great job. So now from here, just take the feet a little wider. You're gonna find a spot in the distance and glue the eyes to that spot. And then what we wanna do is lift the heels as high as we can, feel the glutes squeeze. And then you're just gonna draw a line to the right and then to the left with the nose. But keep your eyes fixed straight ahead and just get like 3 to 4 to each side, and then rest, lowering the heels down. Now we want to do that again, but now we're going to draw a line vertically with the nose, keeping the eyes glued. So we lift the heels, glutes are squeezing in, and then we draw that line vertically 3 to 4 times up and down. Eyes are glued. And then we come down. Last one's the hardest, lateral head tilt with the eyes glued. Okay, so here we go. Heels lift. Eyes are glued. This is the weirdest looking one, but luckily we're each in our own little window. So I'm the only one that looks super weird here. Okay. Good. And then we come down. I'm going to have you reach the arms up, inhaling. Exhaling, forward fold in a way that feels good for you. I like to slide my hands down the legs and keep a pretty neutral spine to start. We can let the head drop, push the legs out, and just take a second. And from here, I'm going to have you press into the, now something to play with before you come up is, everyone's different in what they prefer. I like pressing out with my feet. That helps me activate my outer legs, and it really feels very supportive to come up. So just give that one a try. How does it feel if I push my feet apart without them moving to come up? And then go back down and give squeezing the feet in a try and see. I hate that one, but you might like it. It might feel better for you. Feel smoother. And then you can just pick the one as we forward fold that feels the best. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna have you bring the arms up, feet are hip width, and we want to turn right palm back, so the thumb goes down and then ends up kind of going up, and then left thumb goes up and back. So the left arm is externally rotated, the right arm is internally rotated, and then we switch. And so we're doing opposite things with the upper arm bone and the shoulder blades. And really work for the deepest range possible, and do your best to not let the pelvis sometimes wants to move around in response to what the shoulders are doing. Try to keep that really steady. Work just on the shoulders. A few more. Okay. Okay, and then go ahead and release. Now where I'm gonna have you go from here is, feet are, so this is gonna be a hip hinge. Okay, so the feet can be hip width or even a little bit wider. And we wanna go down, so we feel the booty. And the hands slide in front of the knees, the weight's in the heels. So it's not a squat, so the knees should feel okay. The hips go back and the torso is moving towards parallel with the floor. And then from here, we want to bring the right arm back. Feel the shoulder moving away from the ear like crazy. You want to feel your whole shoulder blade working. And you're in A position, pushing 100 pounds up. The head's in line with the spine. Left arm is pushing this into the left knee or shin bone. Woo. And then go ahead and come all the way up. Give everything a little shake. We're going to do the other side. Okay, so we go back. Feel the hips back. Right arm's pressing this way. The left arm goes back into the A position. We should also feel the glutes a little bit here. Push up, shoulders away from the ear. Breathe, breathe, and then we come up. One more time on each side, okay? If we feel like the knees don't love that, just do it standing and really work on pushing into extension, okay? But if you feel like this hip hinge position's okay, we're going back, pushing, left hand back, right arm reaches, head's in line with the spine. Feel your heels, you should feel the butt. Then we can come up. We want to do the other side. So we go down, feel the heels, push the right hand back, the left arm comes into the A position. Feel the heels, feel the left shoulder blade, tricep. Okay, and then we push to come up. All right, guys, so we're gonna head into plank for a minute. I'm gonna put the minute on the clock. Now, we have the option of not doing this, right? Just doing knees down, holding a quadruped, lying on the belly. You don't have to do this, okay? But I'm gonna put a minute on the clock. And so let's go ahead and come into it first before I start the timer. So we're in our quadruped. I want you to feel that so for some reason, I really like the pushing out because it creates space between the collarbone and the shoulder joint for me. But again, it might feel better to you to push in. So play with that. Push out, push in. Which one works best, right? Cat pose slightly your upper spine. And you want to use that breath we did on the back where we pushed out into the hands. And then through the belly and pelvic floor comes up. All right, so let's get set up. When you're ready, just gonna make sure I have my timer ready. We'll come into plank. I'm gonna start the timer. Pick the position that feels the best for you with the arms. Maybe the knees are down, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you can feel this in your core. And we're breathing out into imaginary hands. Squeezing belly in gently, pelvic floor lifts, so gentle. We want to push back into our heels. There's a little glute bridge in a plank. So we're feeling the glutes engage. Lots of breathing the whole time. Okay to shake. Breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe. When we need to rest, we can rest. Dropping the knees. You should feel this in the core a lot. But if it moves to the low back, oh, we made it. Okay. And we're resting. I'm going to have you rest in a child's pose. Take a second. Allow the upper body to relax down. Okay. Few more breaths here. And then, let's take 2 more breaths. Let's really give it about 30 seconds to a minute of rest. Okay, and then from here, let's head into our down dog. And we're just gonna hold the down dog 5 breaths. Strong, strong arms. We can still work our core stabilization breath here. Pressing out of the hands. Like, I really want you to feel that your arms are like, your shoulder blades are lifted, but they're just locked in, right? Because you have the weight of the body into the arms and the hands and the upper body. So you're pushing, so your shoulder blades lift, but you're still feeling very integrated. Lots of breathing. One more breath. Ooh, okay. And then let's lower down. And from here, we're gonna head into the funky side plank, all right? So for the funky side plank, we wanna come down to the forearms. And this is, let's say this is my right forearm. My left fingertips have to line up with the inner elbow. And my left toes line up with my right knee. And my left knee is lifted to the ceiling, right? So you have a lot of load on your right arm. And what we want to do from here is we want to reach the top arm up, and then we want to dive underneath. It's not going to be a huge movement, right? It's just as much as you can reach back, and we want to do 2 more. So 5 in total. We should really feel the arm now. 1 more. Breathing. Awesome. And we come out and we switch sides. So now we're on the right forearm, left forearm, right fingertips line up with the elbow, right toes line up with your left knee, strong bottom arm. We reach up and then we reach through. And up and through. Super strong left arm. 3 more. 2. Okay. Awesome. And then I'm going to have you come to a seat on the heels, if that feels okay. If not, place a block between the shin bones. And we can rest with the hands just in the lap, or maybe it feels nice to interlock the fingers behind the back. So you're kind of just like this, or maybe you want to stretch the chest a little bit. So you would be like this behind the back. I'm going to opt for the chest stretch here. And just take a few breaths, but it's whichever one feels the best for you. And you want to just keep the breath happening. I'll take a few more breaths here. Okay. All right, guys. Give the arms and the shoulders a little shake. So we're going to move to the lower body. Now, I want everyone to be just very mindful because we're going to do the anterior 45 lunge to the pigeon. But we don't have to do that. Okay? Pigeon pose can be very destabilizing for the SI joints. So I like this version because it's a stronger version and it doesn't seem like sinking in the joints, but we still want to be cautious if we have those issues there. Okay, so the anterior 45 lunge, we know, right? We have the right leg forward and it's angled off at a 45-degree angle to the hip. We go in some amount, we hold at the bottom, and then we push back to come out. So that's the first step, listening to the knee. It might be here, we might be pushing down, pulling back here, feeling the glutes. Okay, so that's, right, so this might be where we're staying. I'm gonna have you do at least 3, just the anterior 45 lunge. Okay. Now, taking this into the pigeon, I would recommend, like we did last week, bring the hands down and go from anterior 45, and then you want to pick this leg up, and it goes back on the diagonal to some form of pigeon, right? And I'm going to just show from the side here. So we're in our anterior 45 situation. The hands are down, anterior 45, pigeon. Kind of like an offset pigeon. And we're alternating between those two, listening to the body. Does this feel okay? Does this suck? Right? We just make the decision, maybe we just do this. Now, the next option, as we did last week, is to use no hands, right? Going in and then trying to find the balance. Ooh. Pigeon, some pigeon, strong hip, and we step. Okay, so the thing I like about that, not using the hands, is that then it tells you what's my true range. Like it might just be there, that might feel good, and then we can come out and use the strength of that range. Okay, give one more time a go, give that a go one more time on that side. And then we want to switch to the second side. It's okay if we kind of lose our balance. We're learning about where the center is when that happens. So that's perfect. So let's go ahead and switch. Left leg comes out into that anterior 45 lunge position. We're just bending in. How does this feel? How's my knee? Where do I stop? Push down, pull back. Can I go a little deeper? Just kind of play with that around 3 times. Okay, once we've done the anterior 45 with like a brief hold at the bottom, then we want to play moving that to the pigeon with the hands down. So we bend in some amount, and then we go back to pigeon. How does that feel? Just testing the waters, making sure everything feels pretty stable and controlled. And then once we've done hands down a few times, then we want to go no hands. Can I control that movement? Where's my range that I can control? For me on the left side, my knee speaks a little bit more. So I sometimes will just add a little extra blanket for the knee. And then just give it a try again. And just working for the range that you can control. Now, we want to just try 2 to 3 on that side. And we will practice these a lot more, so don't worry. And from here, guys, I'm gonna have you come into a down dog, downward facing dog. And 3 breaths in the down dog, strong arms, stable core. Breathing and breathing and breathing and breathing. And then we can walk the hands back to the feet, take a slight bend in the knees, figure out, push out, push in, which one felt better. And we come up. And we bring the hands to the center. I'm going to have you move into your mountain pose and just take 6 breaths in the mountain pose. Feet can be whatever distance feels comfortable. And we might close the eyes. Just to get a sense of how everything feels, how we feel standing on the feet. Do the bones feel stacked? We're breathing out into the sides. I really want you to feel like your rib cage is just expanding front, sides, and back on each breath. Okay. From here, let's move into the goat stance. So feet start, I would say, shoulder width to start. And we want to turn the feet inward and then drop the knees towards each other. If your knees touch, that just means you have to take your feet further out, okay? But if they don't, just keep working. It's like you're trying to touch them together, but your butt isn't back, right? You're still in this bone stacked mountain pose position. It's just that your thigh bones are in internal rotation. And then we want to bring the backs of the hands together. The shoulders are very relaxed, fingers are pointing down. And then we lengthen through the crown of the head, the tailbone roots. If this feels uncomfortable for whatever reason, we can just come right back to mountain pose with the hands in this position. Even though the knees are bent in this way, the weight is still back in the heels. Think of rooting the tailbone versus rooting through the knees. And we'll do one more breath. Okay, I'm gonna have you re-straighten the legs, toes can turn forward. And now we're gonna take the feet even wider. And we're gonna let the toes turn out some amount, right? So they're not fully turned out, and not fully forward, somewhere in between. And we're moving into horse stance. And what I want you to focus on is feeling comfort in the knees and in the low back, okay? So it might be that your horse stance is really just here and you're feeling the heels, okay? So don't try not to think of it as a squat. Try to just think of it as a level change where your butt goes back a little bit and it's like you're bending from behind the knees. Another option is, oh, I just want to go in and out of this, testing the waters. several times, okay, for the duration of the hold. Instead of going deeply into it and holding, you're just testing the waters, pain-free motion of the knee, okay? If we're going deep, I'm gonna have you hug the imaginary ball or tree, elbows relaxed, the middle fingers barely touching, and then we wanna do that same core breath. So we go inhale, exhale, we lower, push the knees out, and we hold. Elbows are very relaxed. Feel your heels. Breathe. Whenever anything starts to speak, it's like, go ahead and come out. Change the depth. 3 more breaths. 3, 2, 1. Now from here, stay low. Start to bring the hands to the floor. Let your butt lift and straighten the knees so that you're in wide-legged forward fold. And just take a second here. Let the breath happen. Head and relax down. And then see if it feels okay to bring your hands out in line with your feet and then flip them. So the backs of the hands are down, thumbs are back facing the feet. Your arm bones are in internal rotation and the head is relaxed here. Again, there's the option of pushing out or pulling in. I like to push out. That's just the way my body is organized. That feels the best, but it's different for everyone. Okay. Now from here, what I'm going to have you do is ground the hands. And then we're going to walk to the right and turn our wide-legged forward fold into a runner's lunge to the right. And I want you to feel the plank in your runner's lunge. Feel your left butt squeezing a lot. Really feel the left butt squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. Keep breathing. 1 more breath. And then we want to lower that back knee, lower the top foot, and rise up off the front leg. And then this is not the anterior 45. We might slide the foot out a little bit. Half cobra, bending in some amount, right? It might not be this full depth motion. The knee might be over the ankle, chest is lifting. Okay, now from here, I'm gonna have you bring your left hand diagonally forward and up. And we're gonna roll into the lounging lizard. So this left hip has to roll out to the side. So it's like a lazy side plank. And your right foot's gonna have to slide back to accommodate that movement. And we should feel a pretty big stretch along the whole left outer side. And we're taking big breaths here. 1 more big breath. And then we want to head to wide-legged forward fold, facing the front of the mat. Everything relaxes down. 1 breath. And then we're going to head to the other side. And don't worry if this sequence is completely new. We're going to get it because we're going to practice it. So now the right hip, we're going to practice it over the next few weeks. So the right glute is squeezed like a glute bridge. We're breathing. It's almost like you're in a plank with the left foot's forward. And then we want to drop the right knee down. Use the strength of the legs to rise up. Adjust the left foot a little bit, not quite the anterior 45. And then we're just working that lunge. How does it feel? How deep Will my knees let me go? Will my hips let me go? Okay, and then from here, we want to bring the right hand diagonally forward and up, lounging lizard. We roll to the outer right hip. The left foot has to pivot out and slide back so that you can accommodate the top hip and get that stretch all along the bottom right side of the body. A ton of breathing. Okay, now from here, from the lunge, instead of wide-legged forward fold, come back to a child's pose. Big toe mounds, knees wide. Allow the whole upper body to melt down into the floor, and make sure to keep breathing and breathing and breathing. And we want to take just about 3 more slow breaths here. Okay, and from here, I'm gonna have you turn this into down dog. We'll walk the hands back towards the feet almost immediately, like an inchworm. Find the isometric for the legs that works for you. We come all the way up, arms sweep, hands scan down. Now, once we're here, I'm gonna have you just bring the big toe mounds to touch as close as comfortable. We're gonna reach the arms up, grab right wrist, side bend to the left, and then just feel the contraction. This right side should feel pretty open from the lounging lizard. And then we want to head to the other side, left wrist. And we're pushing the hips left. And then we can come out. Okay. Now, dynamic hamstring stretch. It's kind of like the nutcracker a little bit. So this is my right leg, my left arm. It's right leg, left arm, right? And that right leg can come back into extension a little bit. That's totally okay. But you want to get that action. And then you might just slowly start to lift the leg higher and higher. And not that it's bad, but try to not let the rounding happen. Okay, don't worry about how high you lift the leg. Just try to keep the pelvis pretty stable. Yes. Yes. And then we want to switch. So now it's left leg, right arm. Left leg, right arm. Just finding that flow. Breathing. About 4 more. And don't even worry about reaching, just keeping that pelvis. Okay, now guys, we did this last week. So first step is I'm balancing on my left leg. I'm bending my left knee a little bit. We want to see if the left knee is happy with that. If it's not, you can go ahead and straighten. It'll just make the next part a little harder, but we have to work where we're at, right? So see if we can bend the left knee a little bit and then just bring the right thigh into the belly. So left knee is pretty bent. We're still feeling some weight in the heel. And then we want to switch. Little buoyant, bent knee on the right side. Left leg lifts. We draw in. Okay. Now, next step is same thing. But now instead of grabbing the knee this way, we try to grab the inner ankle. but we keep that buoyant left knee and maybe the left arm comes out for balance. And then we switch, right knee, inner left ankle, right? That might be where we are, one of those two. We might just be doing this just to get that buoyancy of the knees. If everything feels okay, find the buoyancy in that bend of the left knee, grab your right big toe, left arm comes out. From here, maybe we straighten, right? We might just move dynamically into that. The left knee bent is what takes the stress out of the low back. Okay, good. And then we come out, just do a little shake, and we try the other side. So now right knee's a little bent, left big toe. Can we straighten some of them out? Finding the balance. Yeah, guys, beautiful. And then we come out and we're gonna do some rotations. I just like to rub the outer hips because we pick up a lot of that. And we're rotating. Full body, as much of the body that wants to move, we let it move. And we're looking back and back and back. Arms are like just noodles or like a horse swatting something. Completely. Okay, and also just give the outer hips and everything a little rub. So last little bit of intensity. We'll work our bird dog. So we're gonna come right down to the quadruped position again. And first is just the straightforward bird dog, right? The belly is in, we are using that core stabilization breath that we did in the beginning. Left leg is back, toes are spread. And then you're lifting the leg by engaging the glute. That's all that happens. And then your right arm reaches forward some amount, but you don't want to destabilize the midline. And you hold for around 10 seconds. And then we switch sides. Just make sure that the breath can support the movement. The right leg is back. It's the right glute that squeezes to lift the leg. And then left arm reaches forward some amount. We hold for duration of exhale up to 10 seconds. And then we just do one more on each side of this way. Left leg goes back. It's the glute that lifts. It's not the foot. It's the engagement of the glute that lifts the leg. Right arm reaches forward. Breathing. And then we switch. Right leg goes back. The glute squeezes to lift the leg. Left arm reaches. Okay. Now, from here, just the legs. We can work diagonals, right? So let me show you this way first. So if the left leg goes back, we use the glute to squeeze and lift. We can go out to the side, feel the outer hip, and then we can go behind, almost like the pigeon, to the opposite side, right? So now we're going on to show on the other side. So now my right leg's back, the glute squeezes to lift. Let me show this way. Glute squeezes to lift. We go out, and then we go across the other way. Okay, so play with that. Get 2 to 3 on each side. You can work with the arm. That's going to make it a little bit harder. So if I bring my right leg, and I'm just trying to mirror you, but right leg out, left arm forward. We go out, we go across. Out and across. Big time core. Just play with it. Just play with it. Try to keep the stability of the low back. We'll try the other side. Glute squeeze. Out and then across. Breath. Out. And then, guys, we rest in a child's pose. Once you've done 2 of those on each side, coupled with everything else, that is quite a bit. The hips should be feeling like, okay. Now we'll just take 3 more super slow breaths. Okay. From your child's pose, just come up to sitting on the heels. And we're gonna come now into the more conventional 90-90 shape. But we're not gonna, we're gonna stay seated just for a moment. And then we're gonna immediately come into the side bend. And we just wanna reach the top arm over to the left. And now we're just saying, oh, I'm just gonna breathe into that right side. Sometimes the neck can act up, so I just like to bring the hand behind the head. And still just work into the rib cage. Big time breathing. Now, from here, get some rotation happening. Just start to turn the chest towards the floor, bringing the right forearm down. And gently press the left leg into the floor. Start to just let everything relax a little bit. We'll take 1 more breath here. Now we just want to rise up here. And from here, we can come into the Gomukhasana, right? Or we can come into the cross-legged. If we have some knee instability, cross-legged, okay? If we're feeling okay, we want to take and stack the knees as best we can. We're just going to stack the knees. And from here, all I'm going to have you do is just take opposite shoulder, so left shoulder to right knee, right shoulder to right knee. And so you're just doing a very gentle twisting side to side, breathing a lot. And then if it feels okay, we can ground the butt bones as much as possible and just bring the chin towards the knee some amount. So you should feel that in the outer right hip. If we're cross-legged, we're just sliding the hands forward. Gently pressing into the legs. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and slowly come out and switch sides. So now right leg is forward, left leg is back. We're in the 90-90 shape. And we're down onto the right forearm. And that might give us the ability to slide that back leg back a little bit more. And then we reach the left arm over and we're breathing into the left rib cage, supporting the head if need be. But focusing on putting a lot of space between the shoulder blade and the hip. Then we can turn the chest towards the floor. So we're rotating down towards the mat. The forearms are on the floor. Breathing might feel more challenging here. That's totally normal and okay. Let's take one more breath. And then we can very slowly come up. And now we'll move into either the cross-legged position or this Gomukhasana variation. Just do your best to stack the knees, grab the inner feet, and we're just going side to side. Opposite shoulder to knee, opposite shoulder to knee. Breathing the whole time. Again, if we're cross-legged, it's just more one of these. And then from here, we can either just bring the chin towards the knee, or if we're cross-legged, we're carefully sliding the hands forward, pressing down into the legs. Okay, and guys, great. And then from here, I'm going to have you move on to the back. And from the back, so you can come down vertebra by vertebra, right? Or just get down onto the back, however feels the best. The feet are hip width as wide as the mat. And we want to bring the hands behind the head. And then we start by just taking the legs in that 90-90 switch over to the left. And then we want to join the right elbow over to the left so we're completely rolled onto the side. And then we can move on to the back and switch sides. The legs go in the opposite direction. Elbows unite on the other side. And then we're just moving side to side with the 90-90 switch and the thoracic rotation in a way that feels okay. So working in a range that feels okay. Breathing. Okay. One more time, over to the left side. And we can roll onto the back. Last thing I'll have you do is, if you have a yoga block near you, you can place the yoga block or even a rolled blanket under the pelvis. So you want to be close to your tailbone, right? So make sure that your sacrum and your tailbone is on the block, or like the blanket, or even your hands. And then what we want to do is just straighten out the left leg. Keep the low belly drawn in as much as possible. And what I want you to do from here is pull your right thigh in. This is going to ensure that you're not able to anteriorly tilt the pelvis, and that might make your left leg come up. And that's perfect. And I just want you to let your left leg hang in space, but keep pulling your right thigh towards you to keep the pelvis into a more neutral position. And then reach through the left heel, reach through the left heel. Okay, now we're going to switch. So we just bring left thigh in and we straighten out that right leg. That right leg might not touch, that's perfect. Keep pulling your left thigh in as much as you can. Reach through the right heel as much as possible. Breathe a lot. Breathe and breathe and breathe. Okay, now, if there should be no pinching in the glutes or anything of that sort of nature. If it feels like there is, just come off the block and do this without the block, or do it more like on a rolled blanket. We're gonna re-straighten the left leg, reach the left arm overhead, and just pull on that left wrist so we can side bend a little to the right. And we're reaching through the left heel. We're trying to keep the belly engaged some amount. And then we can switch right leg, right arm, reaching through right leg, drawing the right wrist over to the left just slightly. Belly engaged. Okay, and then we can release glute bridge up off the block or whatever we're on. And then we'll come right into our Shavasana. Remember, the Shavasana can be the more traditional one, where the legs and the arms are just slightly away from the midline. We're looking for a lot of space. But we could also be on the belly. We might be on the side. For some of us, the knees might be bent or one knee bent because that might feel more comfortable for the low back. And then remember, we always have the option of just being here doing nothing. It's like, it's so rare to just be somewhere doing nothing. It almost feels wrong. So that's completely okay. But another option would be to think of the way that someone who you care about or who really cares about you, just visualize them sort of looking at you with full love and full appreciation and full gratitude. And just see if you can let that imagery be a mirror for you. And then when you're ready, we can just start to move and palpate any part of the body that feels okay. So palpate. I'm just going to stop the recording.